We're like,
Perfectly all right. Okay. Uh, the it's a prompt is showing on. Can you just click on got it or something so that it just disappears from the screen? It's showing me the meeting is being recorded and the a tab is in front of me.
I think, Sahil sir, you can just click on OK or something. There should be some option
Okay,
of
okay,
clearing that
I
prompt.
have. Okay, okay, now it's fine. Thank you, Suri.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, as I was mentioning earlier, also it would be a clean, a pure, organic chit chat. Nothing about some, organized meeting. I would say it is a random chit chat, and we will be presenting our thoughts, our ideas, and I'm very sure something productive will come out of these discussions. And it's just a start also to our new venture in YouTube. So I wish all of us all the best. So let me now begin my thought. So let me begin. First of all, I yesterday while I was taking a walk, I introspected on a topic, the philosophy of choice. So I had some random thoughts about it while I was taking a walk there, and some points which I have been able to articulate in my head. I would like to bring them forward before your good selves, and I would surely want your anticipation, in favor or against, doesn't matter, but your thoughts on the same thing or anything you want to continue, you can do that as well. So the philosophy of choice, as the word says, the philosophy of choice is we have been, it's sort of a oxymoron. The choice, I mean, it's an oxymoron, and why I'm saying so is the choice is always in yes or no. There is no third alternative. Then how come it's a choice? The philosophy of language has a barrier that it is just a pointer. When I say that I today tomorrow I have an exam, so if I have to conclude that what choices I have got, I would say I if I study I will pass, if I don't study I would fail. There is no third option. So do you think that the choice which ideally represents freedom is not there actually, because there is no third option that there should be no exam tomorrow? That is not happening. So there is an event going to happen and I have a choice, and the choice is within a box. It's not a freedom, it's an independent choice, it is a relative choice. So the choice which we think that we have choices, it's basically an oxymoron when we don't have. Actually we are fixed, we are constrained by two factors and we have to choose one. But still if we have to choose third we can't do so, because we are stuck in a pattern, in an event which eventually has to happen. So there's no third option, so that we can change the event also. So I think I have put a context, this is just a context introduction. So I don't think how comprehensively I have been able to put myself. So I would like 1 minute, 1 to 2 minutes you can speak about if you are able to comprehend the thing which I am saying. So let me start with Suri. Suri, over to you. Thank you. Suri, Savan, am I audible?
yeah, yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, Suri, over to you.
Yeah. Sorry. I lost you in between. Can you please say the last things again? I'm sorry. I lost my network, and meanwhile,
No, no, no,
uh,
no issue. From where you want me to repeat? I think I don't know where
I
actually you was
I heard the
lost.
last thing that you said was something about the choice that we are referring to is not definite, or it's not like something. If we want to make a third choice, uh,
Yeah, yeah,
that
I got it. So
yeah.
yes, yes, yeah, yeah, I know, I exactly now know where you were lost. So let me put it again, the last thing which you were not able to listen. So I think that actually the word choice should point to a circumstance where we have a third event, where we have a possibility for a new event that actually will mean a choice, not actually the event which anyhow is going to happen. I have to apply choice in that also, then in that only. So how come it's a choice? What if I want a new event to happen in place of that event? that is actually a true meaning of choice for me. So that was something which I said, spoke in the last few minutes. So over to
Mhm.
you, back to you, Suri. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you mentioned the correct way of choice, like what exactly is a choice and how the choices differ in our day-to-day lives. Uh,
Yeah.
Many of things you already said, like when there are like two things, we have to make a choice in between two things. But there is not a freedom or will of making a choice in those two things in between. If, for example, like if there is a, like you mentioned, that if there is an exam tomorrow, then there is only a choice, like whether you want to go to that exam or not. But there is no choice. There is no choice of like completely doing something that you want do not want to do. You are restricted by some limitations, and there is not much of a things that you can do beyond that line. So I think in our day-to-day lives we make some choices, but that choices are um I mean to say that those are kind of in a specific domain that we make choices. It is not completely out of domain. So yeah, that is what I wanted to point out right now.
Yes. So as I can conclude, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you are saying
Yeah,
that anyhow we can't change the event altogether,
correct,
that we have to act
correct.
within the limits of the event.
Limits
So
of the events.
that
Yeah,
exactly doesn't define a choice. Basically, that's the alternatives you have to act on an event. So I
correct,
think the
correct.
choice, the word choice has been, incorrectly used. It has been incorrectly used from the time the language has been, you know, invented, discovered, invented, I would say, not discovered. So I think choices don't actually exist. And over to you, Savan,
Mhm.
to have your point of view on that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Buddha. So yeah, like the points you guys made are, I guess, I believe very valid. But I want you guys to look at it from a fresh perspective. Instead of looking at a particular event, suppose you guys, Suri, and you gave an example like if there's an exam, there are just two choices you have, whether to study and pass or not study and fail. But I want you guys to look at a more from a more broader perspective. If we see, yeah, maybe when coming to a particular event, we can say it's either yes or a no. But you do have a choice to select, to really decide for yourself which particular event you want to go in. Let's look at it from a broader perspective. Suppose you have you are there, like suppose there's a class 10 student. See, he has a lot of, let's talk about career since we started on exams and all. He has lot many choices. He can either take science, he can study biology, mathematics, commerce, arts. He can even choose not to study any more or do some sports, arts, crafts. There are n number of choices. But when it comes to a particular event, like you mentioned, if you have an exam tomorrow, either you study or not. Then it comes down to yes or no. Then you don't have a choice really. To be honest, see, yes or no is not really choice. You have to do one of it. It's not like you can get away with, you know, either you study or you don't study. You can't get away with it. But when it comes to when you look at it life from a broader perspective, I believe you do have choices. But when it comes to a particular event or a situation in life, that I believe you guys are very correct there. There, I don't believe there's a choice. Either you have it or you don't have it. So that's like my opening remarks for today's discussion. I believe I was able to convey my thoughts. So yeah, Buddha ji, over to you.
Thank you, Savan, for giving us an alternative point of view. And yes, surely that's also a perspective. And as the Jaina philosophy says, it is a philosophy of ekantavad. That is, every perspective may be true, may not be true. We don't know. Like an elephant, that someone touches its tail and says it's a snake. Someone touches its abdomen and says it's a wall. So it's a game of perspective that we have in this physicality of world. So it's wonderful. Okay, so let me take the discussion to a next further level. It was just an introduction, so I really got some great points from all of us, and let's take it now to the next level. Now, the things which you were saying, that first of all, that we have a choice in an as we see from a macroscopic view, but the choices still we have are conditioned choices. Maybe you have a limitation of knowledge. Why I'm saying so? Because the environment you live in, the genetics you got get, and the possibilities you come across, you only make choices out of them. There are not infinite options available to you, because your knowledge has a capacity to accumulate to a certain level only. Let's say there's a route from India to US. There might be thousands, lakhs of routes through which we can go. But because we know only two routes, we would say that these are the two routes from even from a macroscopic level. And then if I go in the microscopic level, I would say that I have a choice to go by a land route or said a sea route. But the thing is, I only have a perspectives which are limited to my knowledge, but the absolute has not been discovered. So that's very comprehensively, when we know actually what actually lies in the substance of an event, we actually then only we can conclude that we are making a choice. Otherwise we are just acting on based upon conditionings. You mentioned about education, like after the study, after the matriculation, you are supposed to select a stream in science, commerce, arts, and maybe some other streams as well. So, but the thing is, humanity or this education or our country has been able to identify only these perspectives, these fields of knowledge. But do you actually believe that only those fields, perspectives of knowledge exist? I don't think so. There might be n number of infinite number of possibilities in the horizon of knowledge which we haven't yet been able to, get hold of. So I think that won't make a choice. It's just the availability to choose from what's available, and that too there is not a freedom of choice. And why I'm saying so is, if you are born in a rich family and if I am born in a poor family, our choices will be different, our perspectives will be different. So how come you would say a choice is absolute? So now speaking, my next question, and I would say I would like to know your thoughts about the relativity of choices. So do you think the choices exist as an absolute entity, or it's altogetherly a matter of relativity? Thank you. Over to you, Suri.
Thank you, Sahilji, for putting your thoughts. Sorry, thinking with the. You mentioned it really perfectly that, and you covered it with some great ideas. With an idea of if a person is traveling with sea or by land. That was a great idea. And the other also example that you gave with the help of the initial example that you gave with the exam passing, that was also one of the thought that I also had at that time. Coming to the relativity of the choices, I find like definitely we make choices in our day-to-day lives, and I'm just quoting my words again. We make everything. The choice that we make is having some influence by others. Let me give you try to understand this with an example. For example, there is a there is an example that you only gave, that tomorrow, if there is after matriculation, we have to choose a stream, whether it be non-medical, medical, or any other. we find out that many people, many students may go for uh, non-medical or maybe medical. That is because their cousins or maybe their brothers are influencing them, or their parents are influencing them to become a great, having a great future ahead. But that is how their knowledge is limiting themselves. Their parents may find out that some getting into medical or maybe non-medical is a brilliant choice, but they can't get into something, uh, like for example, if they are getting into some other stream, they may get may excel in that stream and then become whatever they want. But they try to influence the choices, they try to make some put some facts of other people that became success in their uh, generation, and then they try to manipulate your choices. And we uh, at a very sooner stage, we try to think that if our parents are feeling the same, we should also feel the same, right? Isn't it what we are having right now? Whenever we find out something tomorrow to happen, we are not able to figure out what we want to do. And so what we do is we just go to our parents and just try to get their suggestions, and they try to manipulate us, and then we end up to some making a choice. That is how I think is the choices are being altered in today's lives, with us, with everyone. So uh, yeah, for now this is like my perspective on this. Over to you, Savan.
Yeah, thank you, Suri. Those were some valuable points you added. Quite agreeing with you on these points. And coming to the points made by Thinking Buddha. So basically, you mentioned about relativity of choice and choice not being absolute. 100% agreeing with you on this point. And I believe that our choices, somehow, somewhere, if you look, maybe it might be evident on the surface itself, or may not be clearly evident, but our choices are somewhere a result of the conditioning that we have been getting since our birth. We see. So, come to think of it, like one really has to think really hard whether his choices that he or she is making are really free, or are they a result of the conditioning that's been going on and on, and even right now, and it will go ahead like till the person dies. He's being conditioned by the society, by his parents, by friends, by the stuff he watches, movies, series. All these things have been conditioning us, making us believe this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing. But what if we never got that conditioning? What different decisions would one be making if he hadn't got that conditioning? This is a point I think we must someday sit and think upon. Like, it's not so easy, you see. And coming to like absolute choice, I don't think there anything like an absolute choice exists. Like you rightly mentioned, we can make choices out of only the things we know, like only the options we know. But what if there are many many options beyond our domain of knowledge that we are not even sure of? So thinking of it, like it's a relatively, you may have a free choice, but on an absolute level, I don't think anyone has a free choice, you see. So yeah, over to you for your remarks.
I just want to cut here for a quick
Please,
thing that I
please.
want to mention. So Savan said something about that there may be some other options that he may consider, or he or she may consider. But the thing is, the thing I want to highlight here is we always, as a human, we always tend to make the best choice. Okay, so it is not something that maybe there are maybe hundreds of choices given to you, but the thing is, we as a human, we always tend to make the best choice. Be it tomorrow there is a exam or not, there is an option to end your life right away, but we don't want to make that choice. That is a choice. So by I'm just clarifying that uh, so maybe there are many choices that you don't have right now in your knowledge, and maybe that is something you want to consider. But getting the knowledge of the things that you have right now, you make the best choice of it, and I think that is how this works. And indeed or not, you make the absolute choice. I mean, what do you have remarks on this? Thinking with
I would like to come in for a minute, just a minute. Yeah, if you
Please,
may. Yeah, so
please.
like when you say that we make the best choice, don't you think what is
Double
best,
meeting.
what is best for us, is entirely based on your conditioning. Suppose you and me are in a same situation and we have five options, same five options. Do you believe that what you choose as best and what I choose as best would be the same? May or may not be.
no,
I believe
no,
the
definitely
best
no.
thing would be kind of dependent on our conditioning. What I'm saying is, had we not got that conditioning, what then? How do you decide what's best choice? Yeah.
Correct, correct. Here, you mentioned about conditioning. I believe definitely it is there. If you are born in a rich family and I am born in a poor family, the choices that you may be having may not be same for me. Although we are of the same age, or maybe we are studying in the same class. Maybe you are having a dream of becoming something great, and I am still dreaming of becoming something that may tomorrow benefit my family, or maybe they uh, they don't have the requisite um, things to just study me or teach me anymore in further. So definitely that is something that is there, and you rightly pointed out this. Over to you, thinking good.
Yeah, thank you both of you for the putting a lot of perspectives, and I think it has summed up quite a big volume. So now I would like to comment on some things which both of you said. So first of all, adding to this thing about rich and poor making choices relatively based upon their conditioning, let me take it a level up, and it would also answer the questions which Savan was asking. So let me say this, put this way. You said that two persons born in a rich family and a poor family would have a difference in making choices based upon their conditioning. Now let me ask you a simple question. What if the two persons brought in the same status, brought in the same family, they were twins, every situation of life they encountered was bit to bit same, then they both have to make some certain choice maybe, and they are giving the same five options. Now just answer me one thing: would they be choosing that same option, both of them, or they would be choosing, can choose same or may differ in choices? What do you think, Suri as well as Savan? This question is put to both of you. Please answer me. Thank you.
So right now, thanks for asking this question. Thinking with the so for I think for my perspective, they may be getting into the same things, and they may not be getting into the same things. It basically depends on some other factors also. That is what my thinking is. Like they, if any one of them is not intelligent enough. For example, I may give you an example. For example, there are two twins, and one of them is extremely intelligent and the other one is not much intelligent. So tomorrow, if there is one intelligent person who is trying to start a business and he is successful in that business, so what exactly will the other one do? The other one has to rely on the first one, and that is what he did. He may get into his business and try to function some of the departments or some of the things there. So I basically think that there is not a certain things that may he need to do. Uh, I am just not convinced. Like they may get into the same choice or they may not get into the same choice. Uh, so that is what my perspective is. Over to you, Sam.
Thank you.
Thinking both the just one clarification I'd be reading here. When you mentioned that both of them have faced the same situations, put into same like we can say external stimuli. So do both of them have the same like physiology, psychology? Are they identical or they are different? Like physically, mentally, emotionally.
See, any two persons in the world, come what may, won't have exactly 100% similarity in their psychology, brain processes, brain functioning. So I think it's why I put that question. Actually, my purpose was to just bring out one thing, that conditioning won't be the only criteria to choice making. Like we were limiting it to what, first of all studies, then we limited it to the conditionings, like one born in poor family, one born in rich family. So the point for raising this question was to make, I think, put a point here that it's not, choices are not only influenced by the conditionings or any sort of things. It is way more complex phenomena that choice making is than what we actually perceive. So that was the whole point which I was making, and I'm very sure, Savan, you would have got the answer for it. And now over to you to know your stand. Thank you.
Yeah, quite right. I kind of was, uh, I got an intuition that you were going down this line. So that's why clarified. Basically, these factors would also come into play, these n number of factors, out of which let me name a few: is our person's psychology, his physiology, his physical, his mental thinking patterns and all. There's a lot of biology and chemistry in a person's body that would surely be responsible for the choices he makes, not just the external stimuli, what we call conditioning. And yeah, so very valid point. I believe these factors do have a role to play in choice making. But come to think of it, if we think deeply, isn't the person's choices limited by all these factors? Like, how does he have a control? I believe he has no control over his psychology, or come to think of his chemical composition, his neurons, his thinking patterns. So, like, I would like to ask you, maybe take this point further. I think, is there really a freedom of choice?
Yeah, Savan, thank you. Yeah, Suri would, I think, has to say something. He has turned down his mic. Suri, yes, if you want to add something.
So I was not actually being addressed by like what Savan has to say actually. So can he please repeat like what was his intention to think of? Because there are like two things, right? If we make a choice, there are two things: if either make a choice or not to make a choice. It is not something like, for example, tomorrow I want to go office. So it's like I want to go office, and or I don't want to go office. It is not something like I want to go office in South Africa. Okay, so my office is in here, like 2 kilometers away from here, and there is a choice maybe to go some other office, maybe Tech Mahindra or some other choice. Uh, that is also a choice to go some other office. But how feasible is that choice? That I want to highlight.
See, Suri, I believe you're still kind of stuck with our previous examples. Like, I think our discussion had moved ahead of, just being restricted to a particular event to
Yes,
choices,
I know.
choices in
I'm just
general.
trying to, yeah.
To choices in general. I mean, obviously, while going to office, you just have two choices whether to go or not. But we were talking of choices in general that a person makes, whether be it his career, his relationships. In general, we were talking, not limited to a particular event. So there, I was trying to say, as Thinking Buddhaji also mentioned, that it would depend. The choices a person makes depends on n number of factors. So I was just bringing out some of these factors, and then a thought occurred to my mind: whether are we really making those choices? Do we really have a control over those factors that decide how you make a choice? I don't think we do have even slight bit of control over the factors that really govern the choice making process. So that's when, like, I went into introspection, and I also asked Mr. Thinking Bodhaji that what's his take. Like, so yeah, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Savan. And Suri, just before moving further, I would say that the it's showing the time remaining is 2.39. So while the meeting would disconnect, the I would request that the same link will be working again, and we will click on the same link and join the meeting, of course, again. So let me
Sure.
just first, I actually know where Suri is coming from when he said that if I have to go office, I have to go either to my office. It's the only thing, insane thing to do. I can't just go to an office in South Africa. It doesn't come inside the domain of choice making. Then uh, let me it's a very broad perspective, and I exactly know where this thing is coming from. I would just bring this to a point. I will just clearly explain that thing from my perspective, for sure. That where this the logical fallacy occurs in this thing which you are talking about. And but before that, the Savan, which was he was trying to articulate, I would just give a summary, a short summary for it. And Savan, you, if you disagree that that was not you were saying, so you can just raise your hand, and we can just have a clarification on that. So the Savan, what the point Savan is making, that actually we are bound by the chemical processes in our brain functioning, and based upon that brain functioning, we make choices. So actually, it's not us who are making choices; it's the body, it's the mind that is making a choice. Now, to that thing, but I would it would be injustice to that thing if I answer it, because the meeting would get uh, it would be called off soon by the Zoom itself, because it's a 40-minute meeting for this free version. So let's wait for next 50 seconds or so that we can have a fresh start to both of these perspectives. Thank you. Over to both of you for short crisp comments. Suri, what I said about the your question, and Savan, your question, please.
I think I'm very much forward to hear your opinions on it in the
Okay.
next session.
Yeah. From what you said till now, I believe uh, I was able to make my point through, and you perfectly comprehended it. So let's look forward to the next session. I'll be sharing the link if this link is not working. So we'll connect in the next session. Thank you, guys. We'll connect again shortly.
Thank you, Savan. Thank you, Suri.
I think we can take